someone by your side, and those of you viewing online, turn to someone by your side and ask, Nigeria, where are we going? Oh yeah? If you get an answer, you raise up your hand. Nigeria, where are we going? I firmly believe that one of the greatest needs in our time is for people to be taught how to think reflectively. Many Nigerian youths lack critical thinking skills. Critical thinking skills. Although numerous individuals have attended school, the harsh reality is that many weren't adequately prepared for life. Many weren't adequately prepared for life. Instead, they were conditioned to function within a flawed system. Within a flawed system. There is a system, a failed system, which is very easy to identify, yet many do not know it. And it doesn't matter how much you struggle, so long as you are in that system, your struggles will not see the light of the day. They are not going to succeed. So a number of us went to school, but we weren't adequately prepared. We weren't even prepared for school. You know, there is a need for someone to know why he's going to school. I didn't know why I was taking, and that was why, as a little boy, there were times I was carried by my older siblings to school. How many of you were carried to school? They carried on their head to school. How many of you? They carried me because I didn't know why I was going to school. We attended school unaware that we were being molded into something designed by others. Now, this section requires that you think. We attended school unaware that we were being molded into something designed by others. Often we mistakenly believe we are in control, oblivious to the fact that our autonomy is limited. We think we are in control, without knowing that our autonomy is limited. Consider this. Who designed the courses we studied? How many of you have asked yourself that question? Who designed the courses we studied? The options predetermined our choices. Right? The options did what? Predetermined our. So that means our choices were arrested even before we came. Options are stronger than choices because you choose within options, within given options. You thought you made decisions, but unbeknownst to you, those choices were confined within predetermined boundaries. You finished school and you go to get a JAMB form. Even when you were in secondary, you say arts, science. Some say there's another one in some schools, commerce, right? How many of you had that in your school? Commerce. There's another one too. Huh? What? Social sciences, whatever. So those choices were confined within predetermined boundaries. In university, one of the courses that I did was philosophy of education. And a particular philosopher said that the moment we determine ahead of time what to teach a child, we have made that child a slave of our opinion. Then he said that the child should be observed, should be watched. You should watch the child to be able to detect the interest of that child, the strengths and the weaknesses of that child, before you begin to think of the kind of education to give the child. Some of us, before we were born, your mother has written down what you must become. How many of you had that kind of thing? She has written down. So in essence, your options were restricted to the choices provided. Did you get what I said? What did I say? Yeah. You say, I made my decisions, without realizing that the decisions were actually made for you. Well, if they have 10 courses, and they gave you those 10 courses, and they say choose one, they've actually designed, because you mustn't choose anything that is not in the 10, right? Just like in the political arena. At present, Nigeria has 3 big political parties at the federal level. You know them, right? Okay. We are not involved in selecting the candidates of these parties. Open your mind. I know, see, you might be asking, what is the essence of this? You are going somewhere. And those we have there at the time, they came from somewhere. Are you getting what I'm saying? Had it been someone knew ahead of time where they were going and prepared them, we wouldn't have had what we have today. So there's a reason why we are doing this. So since we are not involved in selecting the candidates of these parties, when elections come, we are asked to make decisions. Meanwhile, they've given us 3 terrible options to choose from. Did you get what I just said? Did anybody get it? So, if you don't vote full 1, you will vote full 2. If you don't vote full 2, who will you vote? Full 3. At the end, you must vote. I'm not saying that, I'm not calling anybody a fool. But if we have 3 fools to vote from, who are we going to vote at the end of the day? Okay, you said it. And at the end, no matter how intelligent you claim to be, you can't escape choosing one of the 3. The question now is, did we actually make any decision? Did you get what I just asked? Did you actually make any decision? No. The options they gave us determined the boundaries of our decisions. I'm trying to show you how to think. Sometimes you think you are free, but the person who is presenting options before you has determined the boundaries of your choices. So you are not actually that free. So if we are to look into the matter of freedom critically, we're going to look at the one who provides the options. Are you getting what I'm saying? Are you getting what I'm sharing? When we select a foolish leader, it raises questions about our wisdom. Can a wise person select a foolish leader? Huh? Can a wise person select a foolish leader? Huh? In this instance, yes. In this instance, yes. So, because you were given 3 terrible options. So at the end, you still selected one. Are you still wise after selecting a foolish leader? Yes? No, you can't say yes. Oh, because they gave you options. Why didn't you come into the process of selecting the options? Do you know, yesterday night I was thinking about the presidency. I said, so there are, how many of you have heard the term presidency? There are people somewhere now determining tomorrow, planning tomorrow, If they decide now, they sell our country, including you, and you'll be saying, I don't belong here. And you will see it manifest truly. So, I said, so there are some persons somewhere. So there are some persons somewhere. Do you know that somebody can wake up now and say, I've sold Nigeria to China? All you will do, you write whatever you like on Facebook, Twitter, it will not change anything. Was there not a time they blocked Twitter? We shouted, we did all manner of stuff, it didn't change anything. So when we select a foolish leader, it raises questions about our wisdom. In other words, some individuals somewhere are intentionally manipulating us into acting foolishly. Are we truly free? We need to learn how to think critically. How to think how? Okay, so there are several things I'd like to discuss. We're going to use this section and the last section to discuss them. I'll be addressing 3 critical areas that require our nation's attention. The first, let us look at our school system and our curriculum as a nation. Remember, I'm talking to you because I believe in you. I believe you can make a difference. I can make a difference. Yeah. You are not to be taken for granted. No, you are not. You are not. We really need to look into our educational system. Our educational system, our country has an educational system delivered to us from somewhere. Delivered to us from somewhere. Have you realized that some of us went to school to study things that we shouldn't have learned in the first place? Some persons somewhere sat down and delivered an educational system that was tailored to keep us in a certain way. It was tailored, there was a time I was a teacher in a particular school, and I took my time to go through some of the, textbooks they brought. And I found out that there is this inner connectivity in the flow of thoughts, in those materials. The person who created the school has a predetermined destiny for you. Just understand that. By the time you go through the school, you are becoming something predetermined by another. That is why I question this practice of taking a child. You just give birth to a child, and after 6 months, you go and dump the child in some school. Say, I'm busy. I'm busy. Creature. A child that does not even know you yet. You carry the child and go and dump somewhere. Without knowing, though, even if the owner of the school does not know, there are actors somewhere who are crafting destinies. The person will go through. Have you seen people from a particular school behaving in a particular way? Have you observed that? Yeah. Yeah. So, an educational system was delivered to us, which was tailored to keep us in a certain way. In 2010, I read a document. It said, we were trained in our country to become managers. Yes, managers. We only manage what is given to us. We can't create. The educational system is tailored to turn us into managers. We manage what others created. We need to really look into what we are given and ask ourselves pertinent questions. What is our vision as a nation? Our academic curriculum must have a destination. Must have what? What do we want to see in our nation? What do we want to see in our nation? If there is no vision, then our journey will be aimless and we will keep running in a circle. If there is no vision, there will be no destination. Our journey will be aimless and we'll keep running in a circle. Somehow, we are being trained here to compete with someone in another country. How many of you know that? We are being trained here to compete with someone in another country. I understand that there should be a touch of globalization in our educational goal. But we must have as priority using our academic system to tackle local problems. Did you get what I just said? I said, I believe that there should be a touch of globalization in our academic goals. But as a priority, we must, think of using our academic system to tackle local problems. Some of us are being trained to live in a world different from our world. Hope you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah. Some of us have gone to school to study certain courses because of how the course sounds. He says, can you give me them? Huh? No, give me the names of those courses, oh yeah? Huh? Forest and wildlife resources. What again? Political science. Whatever. Now you are out of school, and the only place to really deploy your knowledge and expertise is in the sky. You are done. You are done studying whatever, right? And the world you are in is not yet ready for your preparation. How many of you know some persons have studied what our country is not yet ready for? And yet you can't even travel. I challenge you to critically look into these things. I'm not against the revolution we have in our academic world, but then I believe that until our learnings start solving local problems, it is useless. Until our learnings start solving local problems, it is useless. I'm sorry if I mention your course, so this is just an example. You've gone to study cybersecurity or coding in school. Have you opened? That was what came to my mind when I was developing my notes. So don't look at anyone here who is studying cybersecurity or coding. Have you opened your mind to think how to solve local problems with your knowledge and expertise? Have you opened your mind to think, how do I solve local problems with this my preparation? You're only desiring to get a job appointment in multinational corporations. And when they're talking to you, say, wow, opportunities abound. I want to tell you today that some of those multinational corporations do not really need you again. Some of you might not really be able to compete with some of those they have already. Of course, you also know that if someone comes from abroad and claims that he studied the same course as you, even if he was foolish, your own wisdom will be judged by his foolishness. Did you get what I said? Did you get what I just said? Yeah. I went to Lagos and I think last month, yeah. And I went with our pastors to see one of my siblings. And we were talking. At a point, I asked him, let's go outside and talk. We left the security house because he came to see me in the security house. So we went outside. I told him, I said, I don't like the way you look. I said, start thinking beyond here. So you've given this place, this organization, your whole life. And then we began to talk, and he even told me how that they are now planning to sack all their old workers, do this, replace them with, new ones. I said, this is actually what is currently ongoing. I don't know whether or not this is true. I heard a particular, either a country or something, lost, about 35,000 persons lost their job as a result of AI, robotic, whatever. Think about that. I said to him, think fast. The world is changing. The world has actually left some persons behind. The world has left some persons behind. I said, think fast, think fast, think fast. So when the guy from, of course, in our country, even Cameroon is abroad. Of course, it's abroad in the real sense of, but we know what we mean when somebody said abroad, right? And when that person comes and says he studied something, how many of you know we have local engineers that could do better than some of the engineers that construct road for us? Hope you know that. Of course, we're going to also come to their own problem. They too, they have their own problem. They too, they have, you can give somebody 100 million to do something, and the person will spend 70 drinking and, moving around, partying around. Are you getting what I'm saying? And at the end, nothing will be done. We're going to come to that. So it is time for you to start thinking about solving local problems. Whatever you know, how can it solve? I'm showing you the way of opportunities. How can the things you know solve local problems? That is actually where money is. Oh. That's actually where money is. I know today everybody is carrying laptop. There's no problem. Determine a destination for your training. Determine a destination. The school may not determine that for you. Someone like me, I went to school, and when I was done, I knew ahead of time. I even told some of my classmates. I knew that there was no intended destination by the leaders in the department, by the lecturers, professors, because looking at some of them, I knew. In fact, one of our lecturers even stood. I was saying, using himself as an example. I said, Sam, not if it were to be like you, I wouldn't be here. Did you get what I just said? Have you seen a lecturer who is very proud and is like, don't you want to be like me? So I dodge it. I don't want to be like you. No intended. So since they do not have an intended destination for your training, create one to avoid frustration and disappointments. Where are we going? Where are we going? I call for the content of our academic programs to be revisited. The content needs to be revisited. We must create an educational system that enables us to solve our local problems. We are going somewhere. We must create an educational system that enables us to solve our local problems. At the helm of our educational systems are many individuals who studied abroad and have spent most of their lives there. Many of them are unfamiliar with the problems facing our society. Hope you know that. You know what I'm talking about, right? And we are very, you say, oh, this our VC is from Ukraine. He was born in Ukraine. He studied in Ukraine. He has lived almost all his life in Ukraine. Wow. Nigeria is not Ukraine. Many of them are unfamiliar with the problems facing our society. The reason why when you are walking on the street, you are just spitting, doing fear. You were prepared to live in another place. Did you get what I just said? When we were at Temple, this school, winners, Evangelist Chidima, Pastor Ike, and the rest, they attended the school. When they are going to school, you'll be wondering, look at them. The way they'll be walking as though they are not at Mpo. They are not in Mpo, sorry. And you are wondering, Hana Suyeli Oyibo. And only back then I'll say, the spoon is on top of the table. Where are all those winners, boys and girls? Where are they now? Where are they? Life has leveled a number of them. Life has leveled a number of them. Some of them established British elite schools in our country. And when parents hear names like British Academy, see what I wrote, British American Command Academy, they are immediately drawn to it. British what? Wow, where is the school? British, say it again. British American Command Academy. So wow, where is the school? That's the next thing. Many children graduate from these schools without understanding their world. Without understanding their world. Have you gone to some of those schools? I have. I have. Sometimes it's a different world altogether. And some of them, even during holidays, they travel abroad. You know that? The children from the school, they travel abroad. And when they return, some even return and go straight to the school. No time with the parents. No time to interact with the world that the school claimed to be preparing them to face. Are you getting what I'm saying? And tomorrow, they become owners of similar schools or hold positions of power, speaking eloquent English without local connections. Yes. The last general election in our country, I learned that the INEC chairman came from a particular country. That's where he lived. And came to give us political leaders and traveled back. Did anybody get what I just said? Why was he not given to play that role in the country he came from? Did anybody get what I just said? Now, do you think that someone imported from somewhere, it doesn't matter the outcome. The person is not here. It doesn't matter the outcome. It doesn't matter. I've seen people who don't really, there is the Nigerian problem. And if you are not in the system, you cannot know it. You can't know it. You can't know it. Hello? Are we still here? Numerous individuals struggle to reconcile their realities with their formal education. Hey. Some of us, we are educated to disregard our surroundings. Someone like me, I went to school, from primary school. The kind of houses they drew in our textbooks, when returning, in my mind, I'll be imagining myself returning to those houses, those kinds of houses. How many of you saw those houses in your textbook? Where Edet lived, Edet, Okon, and the rest. I pity those of you who are watching cartoon. I don't want to go. I've never seen an intelligent person watching cartoon until tomorrow. Yes. And don't think it is for children. It will damage something in their way of thinking. Don't give children cartoon to watch until then. Of course, some of us might not know there are subtle messages they also pass across in those stuffs. You think, see, they are never neutral. There is an intended destination. It will take someone who is very reflective in his or her thinking to decode that. Yes. Okay, that's by the way. Hello? Somebody might just say, he has damaged something for me. It's all right. So, numerous individuals struggle to reconcile their realities with their formal education. A is for apple, B is for, C is for, D is for, E is for elephant. How many of you have seen elephants? Why not if is for Egbe? E is for Ewu. It will be very easy to relate with those ones. As a child, I attended school with a chalkboard. How many of you did? Chalkboard. Where we learned that Q stood for Queen with Queen Elizabeth's picture. Yes, you have it there. I wondered why my mother's picture wasn't there instead. Yes. Growing up, I realized there is no Q in Igbo alphabet, right? But we have Nkwa group. Don't we have Nkwa group? Nkwa. Kwemnaka. Kwe okukwe. Kwe chukwu. Q was added to introduce me to a foreign world considered superior to mine, and which was tailored to make me feel inferior to them. Q is for queen. Q is for what? Yeah. A is for apple. N of apple, then. Everything. This was actually one of the reasons why I left. I was actually interested in science. I'm still a science enthusiast. Common to prepare us for titration. I went to my principal's house. The man said, partial stroke. Then he resigned. I took some persons to my principal's house. Metropolitan College. Because I returned from the north. We went there. I realized that they were planning. I mentioned the school. They were planning to have us indulge in exam malpractices. I took some of my friends. I said, we're going to go visit the principal. Because I'm a child of God. At the end of the day, all of you are going to pass. And I'll be here. I'm not going to involve myself in this. Somebody just came and said, we're going to give you the end point. They said, how did you arrive at it? He says, that's not the problem. The problem is the end point. Have you seen the problem? That's the problem, actually. The end point. How did we arrive there? Don't worry. Don't worry. And then you'll be there. Somebody will say, number 1, D. Number C. Parents that, support this. They are the children that, don't you also know that there are other parents who are also supporting their children to go through this? One day you will be on the bed for surgery, and it will be those children that will open your stomach. The time is coming. Did you get what I just said? Number 1 is what? D. Number 6, C. Number 7, D. Tomorrow you will be there. They will open your stomach, and the guy will be there. And what will be coming up in his mind is number 2, B. D. Madam, are you still awake? Is it paining you? Hey, number C is D. And he takes up his phone and calls. Hello? Nah, there's a situation here. When we were in school, that time they talked about, and there you see yourself in New Jerusalem, flying with other parents too, who supported stuff like that. So, still on the letter Q. Right? Q. Q is for? What again? What again is Q for? Queen. Wheel. Wow. Whale or wheel. This approach falls short of education's primary purpose. Education's primary purpose is to introduce the child to their environment and equipping them with skills to relate with to their immediate realities. Education's primary purpose is to introduce the child to their environment and equipping them with skills to relate to their immediate realities. Introduce the child to their environment and equip them with skills to relate to their immediate realities. Because I was giving cue for Queen, I admired Queen Elizabeth, reading and watching everything about her. Yes, and those around me, they know that. However, I neglected the woman who gave birth to me, brought me up in faith, and prayed for me every morning. That's Mrs. Rev'd Udegbunam. Say amen. Amen. Yes. She deserves more celebration in my world than the Queen of England. Yes. My siblings and those who knew Evelyn would attest that she was extraordinary. I'm not biased, though. I'm not biased. You know why I'm doing this? Your education shouldn't separate you from reality, but rather enable critical interpretation and awareness of existing options. Your education shouldn't separate you from reality, but rather enable critical interpretation and awareness of existing options. Did anybody get what I just said? We went to school to learn how to admire things not close to us, right? Yes. I won't, there's no time to go into football. Oh. Yes. Because we're dealing with, this is national issues. How many of you know that Barcelona is a club just like Ifanyoba FC club? You know that? You know that? Then Real Madrid is a club just like Obono, CSS, what's the name again? Community Secondary School, Obono. Hello? Hello? Then Chelsea. Chelsea is a selection. How many of you did selection? I challenge you, take one post. How many of you did that? Chelsea is a selection. I challenge you, take one. Oh yeah, I pick Nkunku. Let's not go there. But Barcelona will be playing tonight. And I'm sorry, I'll be watching. I don't know when Ifanyoba FC club plays. I don't know. The same thing. Loving the Queen of England. But the woman, an example of excellence right before me, I was not trained to appreciate her. I said your education shouldn't separate you from reality, but rather enable critical interpretation and awareness of existing options. In that your reality. In that your reality. This isn't diminishing the importance of acquiring skills that grant influence in the global arena. No, I'm not trying to diminish the importance of acquiring skills that grant influence in the global arena. No, I'm not. But we are looking at education's primary goal. So now, to participate in global jobs, just for someone not to think I am not trying to limit your aspirations. No. To participate in global jobs, one must be proficient in these things: computer skills, data analysis, fluency in at least 2 international languages. I'm just going to give these 3: computer skills, data analysis, fluency in at least 2 international languages. Now, high-paying jobs will likely be in these things that I'm going to mention. Number 1, cyber security. 2, robotics. 3, computing and programming. 4, data analysis. 5, automobile. 6, business development and sales. 7, creative arts. 8, sports, football, tennis, basket. How many of you have you've wondered at the amount that these footballers earn? How many of you have? Hey, wow. If not for the call of Jesus on my life, by now would have won about 8 Ballon d'Or. But somebody is winning that for me. Amen. Hello. Yes. How many of you want to be a footballer? Want to become a footballer in the future? In the future. See, Bro Chibeze, in the future. And Bro Chibeze can now go to play for our country. He will play for under 17. Somebody was asking, why is it that those guys who played under 21, under 17, you don't see them, doing well afterwards? They forget that at the time some of them were playing for under 17, they were 35. I could remember a time they said they were playing either under 21 or under 27, and one of them scored a goal and was celebrating the fact that his wife gave birth. Was celebrating his newborn child under 17 when he scored a goal. And you're expecting this person to last. And you now get injured. Injury that somebody who is 21 is expected to, the injury is expected to heal after 3 weeks. Yours extends into 1 year, 7 months. Are you still 21? Are you still 21? No speed. No speed. In your OPR, a striker, speed is 35. Check the name, Owase. Hello? Yes. It's well. Future opportunities will emerge in these areas. Technology-driven businesses. Social enterprises. Agri-business. How many of you are interested in agriculture? Agri-businesses. Health and wellness entrepreneurship. Health and wellness entrepreneurship. E-commerce and retail. Renewable energy. You know about renewable energy. Digital marketing. Cyber security. EdTech, education technology. Financial technology. Creative industries. Arts, music, film. How many of you are interested in these ones? How many of you are? Amazing. Amazing. Tourism and hospitality. How many of you are interested in this one? Tourism and hospitality. Logistics and supply chain management. Logistics and supply chain management. Environmental sustainability. Real estate development. Additional areas include waste management, food processing, manufacturing, construction, transportation services, healthcare services, IT consulting, online education platforms, digital media, gaming industry. Gaming what? Industry. I shared these thoughts with you to prevent future frustration and disappointments. Students should be intentional about their academic journey. You need to open your mind to a world beyond your school. You need to do what? Put your mind to a world beyond your school. When we were in school, I saw some students whose whole lives were revolving around school activities. And what happened was that when we were done with school, some of them, there was nothing left. You know, school has a way of engaging you, making you think you are doing something with your life. When we were coming, I saw a car in front of us, a sticker. My daughter is a lawyer. I said, what does this mean? Did you get this? What was written? My daughter is a what? I said, and then? And I drove past the woman in order to see who the person. I knew it was a woman inside. And I looked, I saw her. Ah. Your daughter is a what? She's a lawyer. Somebody traveled, a social media activist. A number of you might know him. Okay? There are a number of things about him that I don't subscribe to. The way he opposes the faith of Christ. We're going to come to faith. In the next section, we're going to come to faith. For those who are saying, we want to go back to our what again? Our roots. We're going to find out which roots. Where is that root? Nonsense roots, right? Nonsense roots. So the man, he traveled. He went to, I think, somewhere in America. Some of you might know him. Let me tell you something that will, give some of you the idea or make you know who I'm talking about. He was the young man who translated physics into Igbo language. Because some of you do not even know. The guy translated physics into Igbo. So he went to do a study, for 1 year. I don't know the country. Can't remember. He said one of his professors asked him to be calling her just her name. He said, Aro. Aro. Like here, you call a professor, Michelle. Michelle, come. Are you crazy? When somebody completes his master's here, hey, master's, and then you now add PhD. Hey. Some persons, by the time you are done introducing them, you take 10 minutes in a meeting. We want to recognize the presence of Dr. Chibeze Elochukwu, M.A. Philosophy, M.A. Psychology, Doctor. Let me tell you something, how I think of myself in respect to, these things called titles. The woman said, my daughter is a lawyer. Do you know you can be a lawyer and that will be all there is to you? People will come to you when they need the services of a lawyer. But when they want to engage life, they need an engagement in other aspects of life. They don't think about you. Have you heard somebody that your only respect for that person is because of the position that person occupies? Have you seen people like that? It happens. That's why we're position crazy here. Position crazy. A woman said to her son, just bear the name doctor. That's it. I want to answer Mama Doctor. Have you ever seen anything like that before? I want to answer Mama Doctor. My doctor and a ritual for whether or not the doctor feeds well is not the issue. I want to answer what? Mama Doctor. My daughter is a lawyer. So fear me. If I had the opportunity to talk with that woman, I would ask her, who are you? Because you are not what your daughter is. Who are you? I'm talking to us. Who are you? Who are you? Open your minds to a world beyond school. Question presented options and don't conform without critical evaluations. Question presented options and refuse to conform without critical evaluation. When options are presented before you, do not conform without critical evaluations. The worst thing that can happen to a person is when he is not free to choose. The freedom of choice, the freedom to choose is fundamental, very fundamental. One of the biggest blessings that God gave us. Yes. And a man sinned because he has the power of choice. But that's by the way. Question presented options. Whatever, it doesn't matter what you were given. The only thing I don't question in life is the word of God. Because sometimes when you question certain options, more options will be bettered. Did anybody get what I just said? When you question some options, what will happen? More options will be bettered. But when you close your mind and just say, okay, then you remain stagnant. You see yourself managing the status quo. Be one who always asks, is there any other way that this thing could be done? What other options exist which I am not currently seeing? Are there other ways? Yeah. Are there other ways? In my project, I went in the direction of falsificationism, as opposed to verificationism as a principle in science. Because if we are always prepared to prove, just like somebody said, let's not go in that direction for now because of time. But we must learn to question the options given to us. Must learn to question the options given to us. To those pursuing academic or political leadership, I urge you to reconsider our educational system. We must create a system that doesn't encourage unlearning the truth. Some went to school to unlearn the truth. A woman went to the school of her children and found in the library, something terrible, about sex. The things the children were taught. The children went to school to unlearn the truth. Went to school to unlearn the truth. We mustn't send our children to school. We must be able to ask what is in there for them. You have the right to. You have the right to ask what is in there for my child. What are you going to be teaching my child? I want to register my child. You have the right to know what your children will be taught. Don't just assume. Because you see, at that stage, the reason why children easily become what they hear is because they've not yet developed criticality. They've not learned how to question the options before them. So a number of times, a child becomes what he was told first. Did you get what I just said? Whoever comes first will influence the child. Anything coming afterwards, the child might not really understand. The child might not really understand. Have you seen people who they will tell you, this is how we do it in our house? This is how we do it in our house. This is how we do it in our house. When I was in nursery school, a nursery school teacher, we were actually, those days, they didn't have much nursery schools. So it was in the woman was using her father's house. So it was even in her room that we used for a classroom. So she would often lay on the bed and use the cane and be beating her leg like this. And everywhere would be quiet. So one day, she left. She wanted to go to the market. Of course, she had other siblings around in the compound, but she gave me the cane. She said I should control the class until she returns. And everybody was making noise. I thought, what am I going to do? I remembered my teacher. I climbed on top of her bed, laid the very way she used to lay, and was beating my leg like this. Nobody kept quiet. Did you hear what I just said? Nobody kept quiet. I was like, it didn't work for me. Do you know you can be educated without knowing, without you knowing? You can be influenced without you knowing. I thought that thing she was doing was responsible for the way the classroom used to be. You can be influenced without you knowing. You can be education can happen at any time. So what do we present before our children? What do we present before them? Even if there is a movie you want to watch together with them, make sure you go through the movie yourself first. Don't say, it is boring to watch a movie and then watch it again. Yes, parenting is not a gift. It's learnable. You learn it. It is learned. It is learned. It's not a gift. It's not a gift. I say, you learn it. You stay again. You watch it. So I said, we must create a system that doesn't encourage on learning the truth. I call for a curriculum overhaul with a clear destination in mind. We must know what type of people do we want in the next 20 years. And with that in mind, we'll design the curriculum. Are you getting what I'm saying? With a destination in mind. With a destination in mind, we'll design the curriculum. By re-evaluating our education, we can transform our economy and the lives. We're going to continue in the next section. I am Elochukwu Udegbunam, and I believe Nigeria's future is what we make it. Thank you.